Thank you so much, Donna. All right. So I was given a little script to go over, so I'm going to go over that right now. So today, OACS, the Older Adult Collaborative of Stanislaus County, we are here. Our mission is to proactively serve and educate each other in pursuit of synergistic solutions for seniors and their adult children. Our vision is to create a unified senior resource team to support each other and the community we serve. And our values are integrity, synergy, service, and collaboration. So a little bit about growth. As part of our mission and vision, this networking group, we hope that we can bring information to the general public and provide value to our seniors. I think we do. Just so you're aware, we still have our flyers on the table. If you don't have any, please do check. We are running low, so on some of your flyers. But if you need to add a new flyer, please let us know. We'll get that updated. And if you are new today, we hope on your way out that you scan the QR code on the poster for OACS, because it'll send you to all of the Instagram and the Facebook and everything like that. And also, is there anybody new here today? Well, we'll start over here. If you could stand up, just introduce yourself, just name and who you're with.
It's Carrie. I'm safely.
Great. Then we had 3 over here, right?
I've died in a pro-berry pharmacy. Hi everybody, I'm Shakita from South Valley Veterans. I'm the outreach specialist for suicide prevention and mental health. And I have my colleague Desiree, who's our resource specialist. He assists veterans who are facing homelessness or about to get evicted and things like that, and help with housing, employment, and mental health.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Glad you found us. I'm happy to have you. Right. So just a couple of quick updates for social media growth. We are up to 555 followers. So that's fantastic. Please share the OACS Facebook page, get it out there. We enjoy it. They have a lot of fun posts on there. So. Right. Our goal is to have 600 by the end of 2026. And I think we'll have way more than that. It sounds like we will. So if you invite 5 people before the end of the year, I bet we can make that happen. We now have 47 followers on Instagram. That's 2 more than we had last month. I guess Instagram's a little slower than Facebook, but they're doing a pretty good job there. My cohort here, Nicole Castillo, our marketing director, she is also the media coordinator for 2026. So if you have any questions or hints or anything you might want to post on the Facebook page for OACS, just reach out to Nicole, and I have her business card with me if you need it today. Does anyone have any upcoming events or announcements to share? Anything going on? I know Love Modesto is on 4. We'll have some volunteers here doing some gardening. I don't know if anybody else, they're still taking applications if anybody's interested to have them come out work on one of your sites, or if you know anyone that need that could use that assistance. And the presentation calendar for 2026 is officially full. So if you are not signed up yet to present here at a meeting, you'll have to wait till 2027, but you can let Amy know and she'll get you signed up. So next we have our presenters for the day. We will be hearing from the team at Safe Haven about residential care facilities for the elderly, discover how proactive relationship-centered care in real home settings is transforming senior living, learn the strategy behind buying versus leasing RCFEs, and why boutique residential care homes are poised to meet surging demands, which is work for assisted living care. So I'm very excited for this. You do have to hold the microphone. You don't have to stand behind the podium, but you have to hold it up straight.
Yeah, sure. It's up to you guys. Okay. Is the camera here? Oh, yeah, I can see this. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. We are Safe Haven Care Homes. My name is Ryan. Kevin Parker. Jonathan White. And so, what is a residential care facility? A residential care facility is assisted living, and typically this is in a residential setting. And so this will just be a home that you see. typically at least 4 bedrooms. And typically we'll have a max of 6 residents at each home. Usually we'll have a 1-to-3 ratio. So for every 3 residents, we'll have 1 caregiver. It is entry level, and so it isn't skilled. But we always invite home health or hospice to come by and that sort of thing. And so I stumbled upon this business model about 3 years ago. My own mother is bedridden, and so at that time we were paying out of pocket for part-time care, and even then it was expensive, right? And so once I saw this business model, I saw, hey, I can actually put my mom into one of these care homes, and now she can have care around the clock. And instead of us coming out of pocket, we'll have other residents here who will be able to absorb those expenses. And so that's truly how I got started in the business. We did. There's a couple of real estate people here. So what we did is we took a HELOC on our primary home to essentially get into the business. We started in Sunnyvale, and we leased. We're on a 5-year lease there, and it was easier for us to get started because we didn't have to purchase a home right away. The only thing for us was getting the okay and the green light from the homeowner. And so we were very transparent with the star, letting them know what we wanted to do. And the thing that we emphasized the most was stability, right? As a landlord having to go through turnovers and that sort of thing, you wouldn't have to worry about that for the next 5 to 10 years. And so that's how I got started. We started with 1, and then we opened up a bunch more with the same method of leasing. And then along came Kevin and John, and we're now opening the 8th location for Safe Haven in the last 3 years, back in Sunnyvale. So yeah, John is going to talk about that a little bit more regarding the leasing versus buying, and he's also going to talk about the land also.
Thank you very much. My name is Jonathan Wyatt. My reason why I'm here, I spent the majority of my career in corporate finance and operations. The personal why that I'm here is both my parents are still here on this earth, but they are still getting up in age, the same as my in-laws. And I'm more of a clarity over crisis type of person. So looking at what the overall market has to offer for my parents, I really wanted to get into an industry that I felt has not been serviced to the quality level it needs to. So that is my personal why that I'm here. Looking at what the overall market is going to be like, and this is what my initial feeling is. As of right now, 1 in 5 Americans are over the age of 65. 80 plus is the highest growing aging demographic in the United States. And every day, 10,000 baby boomers reach the age of 65. So that is an amazing demographic. What is also interesting about this is an inflection point that's happening right now. 50% of the U.S. value is held up in the baby boomer demographic, which is a lot of locked up equity and a lot of choices that they need to make towards the later part of their life. Now, we are going to by 2030, we're going to see a shortfall of about 560,000 beds that can't meet demand. So when you look at these 3 indicators, an aging demographic that is holding a lot of the overall value in the United States of wealth, and the fact that there is a trend of high acuity aging. They're more cognizant as they get to these later years than we've seen in the past, which opens up an availability to them where they want to make better decisions about themselves outside of what their own family wants. So we see this intersection of boutique 6-bed houses and how the resident wants to spend those quality years. And this is where my wife and I met Safe Haven and what they're trying to accomplish. And we really wanted to make the location, something that you would enter an Airbnb or a vacation home, something that was closer to what you were probably used to living in rather than something a little bit more institutional. Now, I'm not saying that institutional living is something that that needs to be improved, but the communal living that we are trying to provide when it comes to 6 beds or less is something that we've seen a lot of our residents really like. Talking to my mother about this and explaining what this was and showing her the pictures and how we're in our CFE, she's like, so it's like the Golden Girls. And I'm like, well, not really. But then thinking about it, yes, we would like to provide that type of atmosphere where it's independent living as much as you can. We are there to improve your quality of life, and we take a lot of pride and respect that we are making sure that you're getting the care you need, but also you're being very transparent with your loved ones on what's happening day to day. So when we came across Safe Haven, we realized that this is going to be a great spot to put our parents if the time comes, and put us when the time comes too. And that's the level of quality that we want to assure when people come to take a look at our response. So the silver tsunami is real. It's only going to be getting bigger as we go forward. And like Ryan had just said, for kids getting out of school, getting into this industry, not finding the entry-level jobs, not being able to purchase housing, being somewhat stuck, this does provide a roadmap to getting the equity in the housing, starting your own business, but also giving back to the community and providing a level of care that I think is not being offered right now. So that is my why, and that's why I'm here. And I think that is the overall feeling that we want to give everyone about coming to a safe haven. And then the RCFEs in general, I think it's going to be a very enriching industry, both from a business sense and from a compassionate care sense. That is going to be right about my time. I'm going to hand it off now to Kevin, who's going to talk about buying versus leasing and overall residential market.
Okay, thank you, John. Ryan, sorry I had to leave, but of course, like the ever-changing world that we live in, I was parked in the charging spot down there, and the guy said, hey, you got to move your vehicle. There's a guy next to you who can't get in his vehicle because your car is too close to his. So what do? I move because things change and we adjust. This kind of goes with what the industry is that we are all in. We're serving the needs. You never know what the need is going to be, but you just make yourself available, you stay flexible, and you get through it. How I got started in this industry is with my wife Carrie, we've been landlords, Section 8 landlords. So nice homes too, beautiful homes, brand new homes sometimes. Serving a need. Of course, there is a monetary reward for it. However, the need is being served. That's kind of like my whole history of life. My first job was a paper route. When people read the news, anybody in here read newspapers still? Yeah. I worked for the Independent Gazette in Richmond, California, and I had about 40 homes that I serviced. I was serving a need. And then my next job, I worked at Taco Bell. Right? Hey, Taco Bell, serving a need. So baseball coach, serving a need. So that's what I've been doing all my life, serving needs. I never knew I was going to get into this industry. Again, transitioning from being a landlord to now a business owner and a landlord and a business owner with an RCFE. Still serving a need that I didn't even know that I'd be serving, but it was in front of me the whole time. One of my best friends, his mother-in-law, she started developing dementia. Now, I would come to this home, we would go in her house, and she'd always be in the kitchen cooking. Small Cambodian lady, cook. I'd go in there, and she'd just light up. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Carrie. Always giving us a smile. But today, maybe 10 years later, maybe 15. She doesn't know who I am. And she can barely speak. And all this was right in front of me. And I never thought, my wife was more forward thinking than me, but I never thought like, wow, this is real. And her dad is going through needing care. My mom is starting to have the same conversation over and over again. So it's kind of like you never know what God has for you, but if you just stay within the will of God and the Lord, you'll be where you're supposed to be. So I personally, without even knowing it, have been driven to be where I am now. So we transitioned, and I'll get into why, what I'm supposed to talk about, the real estate side of it. We transitioned the home that we owned into our first care home with Safe Haven. We met these guys. I originally got a license for adult residential facility, for like 18 and older. But the need was not there in Contra Costa County. So we met these guys. Of course, I always say no to her when she wants to do something, but I went to an open house they had. I'm like, okay, I like these guys. So we opened up our care home in Brentwood. And I'm seeing a lot of similarities to the residents there with what my mom is going through. And I'm talking to the loved ones. It's like, tell me a little bit more. My mom is just starting to go down this road. Tell me a little bit more. And as I speak to them, now I see like, okay, this is real. And guess who might be in need of some care later on in life? This guy. So it makes more sense now, and I get it, and it's right along with what I've been doing all my life, making sure I take care of everybody. Even in real estate, I've been a real estate agent since 2004, always in California. And after the first care home that we opened up with Safe Haven, our second one was with John and his wife Kiki here in Modesto. And this one we purchased. Kiki and John were really, and my wife, of course, spearheaded the search. It's like, so what are you guys searching for? Well, with a residential care facility, in a boutique setting like a home, 6 bedrooms or not, there's certain things that you need to be aware of when you're looking for the property. Of course, a one-story would be perfect, right? Because you got people in wheelchairs, and you got people that aren't getting around as well as they used to. However, we turned a 2-story into a very nice facility because what we needed downstairs is there. We have bedrooms downstairs. We have a nice kitchen area that feeds right into a open family room area. So while the caregivers are preparing meals, they can still watch the communal area where all the residents can be watching TV, listening to music, whatever they're doing. So that's something to look for. So as a real estate agent, now I have a different vision when I'm showing people property or looking for a resident to open a facility in. I'm not just looking for the curb appeal, which is always important, right? But it's what's on the inside. How can this work for what the need is? And of course, they don't build homes to be residential care facilities for the elderly, so there's always modifications. Like doorways need to be a certain width. There need to be ramps. There has to be clear egress to get out of the house in case of an emergency. I didn't know, You have to have signs in your backyard that says exit that way. And it's all based on if something happens, how can we remedy it really fast? You don't want to be going, oh, where's the exit? Out over there. We want to get a gurney through this door. Wheelchairs to get through this door. Bathrooms have to have handles everywhere. Toilet, shower. Wow, really? Okay. We had to take our bathtubs out and put in step-through shower situations because they can't step over. Even though you have assisted living, still want to make it easier for the residents. So as far as the residents owning a property for that, you can actually lease or own. And I might just be rambling. There's so much to talk about, guys. And maybe you guys are familiar with a lot of this. I might just be going over it again. But I appreciate the head nods. It's like, okay, you're feeling what I'm talking about. I really do karaoke, but that's okay. Leasing versus owning. Well, as an owner, everything we need to do to the property, we were able to make a decision on our own. We didn't have to ask our landlord, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Owning is great if you can. And if you don't own and you lease, well, then now you're dealing with an owner who has to understand that you are going to take care of this property unlike any other tenant, because property has to meet a lot of guidelines. You have the state coming through, dropping in for visits to make sure that everything's proper, that your facility is clean, and not only clean, but safe for the residents. So there's a lot of modifications that go along with leasing that you have to, be able to present to a landlord, hey, we're gonna take care of this property, but not only for 1 year, we're gonna do 5 years. So you have a tenant that's gonna take care of this property for 5 years. Yes, we're gonna make some modifications. These modifications most likely will be upgrades to a lot of properties. The one we're opening one in Sunnyvale, and this landlord, we're leasing that one. So we own 2, we're leasing one in Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale, the only thing they said was, don't touch our flower beds. Okay, we won't touch your flower beds, but guess what, Mr. Landlord? We need to put a ramp going out of that door, and it has to go by your flower beds. So what do? We just went over the flower beds, right? Flowers might not get sunshine, but we didn't touch the flower beds. So there's a lot of modifications that goes with owning the boutique style property, but being a realtor, understanding normal needs for a home, like you might say, hey, I want a big kitchen, a big bedroom, I need a backyard, I need this and that. Well, for a residential care facility, you might not need a big backyard, but you just need a house that's functional for the residents. And you can get a house like all of our houses, which I love about Safe Haven. I want to keep it up. That communal area, that kitchen, and that family room all together right there. It's like a big open setting where everyone can be together when loved ones come visit. You don't want to be off in some corner. You want to be able to, hey, you want to mix it mingle. Let's see, what else about owning versus leasing? Finish that too.
So I just wanted to come from a decision-making process for those who are interested in getting into the business, right? It really depends on, where you're sitting at financially. If you're able to absorb, the down payment, but not only that, the holding costs that it takes to get a facility open. And so typically you'll see a facility open up anywhere from six months to 1 year. And so from a capital standpoint, you need to understand that you need to have that money plus whatever it is for the down payment. And another thing to think about also, if you are thinking about getting into this business, is location. Right? The best example I could give, regarding leasing versus buying is the property that we're renting in Sunnyvale. We pay $6,000 a month. That home is worth well over 2 million. And so if we were to purchase that same property, our mortgage would be, 2x of what we're paying, which would decrease the amount of money that you can make and also increase your holding cost in the beginning. And so when you're thinking about leasing or buying, those are the type of things when we had an opportunity to buy here in Modesto, and that's where the numbers kind of made more sense to purchase, right? Because the homes aren't as expensive. So just those are the kind of the things to think about if you are in the process or thinking about purchasing a home to operate as a assisted living.
Yes, and of course you can always talk with me about that, and we can help you through that.
I will do one more point about leasing. You can structure the agreement to be a little bit more beneficial for yourselves. We've had different occasions. Well, maybe not personally, but different occasions where you would have like a 5-year lease with a 5-year option on the back end, so you can start to control what the forward-looking view is going to be, but also have a first right of refusal on buying the house as well. So if you're on your year 7, year 8, and your landlord wants to sell, you have the first right to purchase the house before they sell to someone else. Ideally, the 7 years of work, you build up enough cash or equity to make that transition. But there are also different ways. Usually the leasing agent or the actual owner of the house is somewhat happy that this house is being turned into an RCFE, because you're getting a lot of guarantee. There's gonna be no late night parties, no, teenagers, running around. Every modification has to be approved by some authority or body, the fire, city planners, the state. So essentially you're getting, like Kevin said, something that's a little bit better than what we left it at, and you're getting the overall assurance that if it's a steady business, they're going to be able to pay the rent. So something to think about.
So we're all available afterwards to talk. If you have questions now, please ask them. If we don't have the answer, we definitely can get them. But for the most part, what you have already set up here with the networking and everything, if there's something that we can help provide and help you with what you do, let's talk about it. If there's something that you think that, we can develop together, let's talk about it. If there's issues you've had in the past, let's talk about it. This is like, I love that this is an open setting. I love the fact that you guys are so booked out that you got to go into 2027 if you want to present. And that's awesome. Does anyone have any questions about the leasing versus owning or anything like that? If you want.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. So I called Brian, I think it was in February, and I said, hey, I'm in Nebraska. I just finished the meeting. I said, I'm going to come out of your home. So I went by 2 of them. They were fine. That's the one is with the one. Not even a 10-minute notice. When you go to visit a home, you don't want to give notice. You just want to kind of show up. I went to the home for sparkling clean. I mean, meticulously clean. They were preparing not just one lunch, but 5 different lunches for the different people there, because one person can only eat cleaner food, the other person can only eat this. So they really do cater. A lot of times you hear in residential care homes that they don't cater to the meals. They were preparing, I think it was for young ladies, 9th birthday, I think it was. They were making homemade lasagna, fruit salad, I think it was strawberry birthday cake, all homemade. And the adult children were there, and David and I got to speak with the adult children, and they could not sing enough praises at all. I was very highly impressed, because when you go in residential care homes, you don't always get that kind of greeting. They'll be like, well, why are you here? Why did you do it? Let us know. They opened their arms. They were happy to let me walk around. They were happy to let people, the residents, the family. It was a very nice, welcome place. So if you haven't had a chance to check out their care home, I would highly recommend doing so. Matter of fact, I have one moving into their Berkeley location tomorrow, I believe it. So they're very responsive. Ryan was in Paris, and I was, no lie, texting Ryan back and forth in Paris, and he was replying to the second while he was out with his family. So they do take what they do very.
Thank you, Jeannie. And we're ready for that 10-minute notice tour. We have all of our caregivers on site.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
No
you
more
so
questions
much.
today?
I appreciate everyone.
Well, thank you, OACS, for having me.
All right, thank you. Like I said, they'll be here afterwards for any other questions you might have. All right, so next we are going to draw, we have 3 items up here for the raffle. We're going to draw your guys' card. Did everybody get a card in the raffle? Right. Oh. All right, our first winner is going to get our speaker's gift, the headphones that are up there, and it's Jeannie. Yeah. So the new JBLs. These are really nice. I have them. Thank you. So, and then the next 2 are from us here at Fellowship. We have residents who attend, so we provide an extra bigger mission. We got Donna. You want How do you plant your patio? Thank you. Thank you. And then Victoria, caregiver team. Yeah. Enjoy. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's see. All right, so again, just a reminder to check out the table with information from the many providers and organizations here today. And please feel free to invite your friends, family, and any clients serviced by your organization to join us for our next meeting, which is May 14th, here, second Thursday of the month. Presenter will be Isaiah, I hope I'm saying Swarne of VIPs. So that's the visually impaired person support. And we're looking forward to that one. That should be a really good presentation. Their agency gives training and adapting to vision loss through techniques and devices tailored to the individual's specific needs. Please take one of the flyers. I do apologize, we don't have the flyers with us, but I will make sure they get emailed out to everybody. I have your cards, so I'll get them emailed out to you by Friday, so tomorrow. Okay, and then just want to say thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions for Fellowship or anybody else, feel free. Our activity center is open. We have nothing planned here until lunch. Feel free to hang out. Okay.
You did a great job. Thank you.
So, I also participate in this networking company called Gold Star.
Okay.
And